Is to quickly demonstrate modules and combining of modules and also parameter passing. I have a very simple interface here just with a simple button, and if we have a look at the source code, this public function button is linked to that button. In that function I declare three variables, a, b and c. They're all numbers. I'm setting their values to 2, 4 and 6. And also declare a variable total, which is a number, and then I call this function sum. And this function sum is a function I've written that accepts three variables, x, y and z, and returns a number. Functions we've written where we have void after the function name indicate that the function doesn't return a value, but you can, as we see here with the sum function, you can have a function returning a value. You just need to indicate the data type of that value. So here we've got it returning a number. So when I call this function, I simply write the function name followed by the three variables that I'm passing to it, and that's where we get the term parameter passing. So when you put a variable or a parameter inside the brackets there, we refer to that as parameter passing. And then I'm using an alert box just to show the value of total, just to check if that's working. So a, b and c are passed to the function sum, and the function sum returns x plus y plus z. So that function is sent back to here and is stored in total. So let's just have a look at that working. Okay, so just my button, I click it and we get 12 in the pop-up box, which is 2 plus 4 plus 6. So here we've used it with variables. We can actually also pass numbers. So we could just write in something like 3, any numbers we like, 4, let's do 3, 4 and 5, and let's run that. And you see here that the answer 3, 4 and 5, the answer is 12. Let's just change 10, 3, 4 and 10. Okay, you see the answer is 17. So when you're passing to a function, you can pass a variable, you can pass the actual number, and we could also, the value in putting code into a function is that you can use it multiple times. So you can recall that module, reuse that module over and over without having to rewrite the code. So this is the sum function we have written is very simple. It's one line of code, but you can imagine that if you had some complex processing that was 10, 20, 100 lines of code or more, and you're able to reuse that code rather than retype it, it saves you a lot of time and makes your job a lot easier. So just to show you how we can reuse it, I could also add this to sum, and we'll use our variables again, a, b and c. Okay, so we've got two separate calls now to our sum function. Let's run that. And you can see the result. So using functions in this way is good for a number of reasons. It makes testing code a lot easier when you can test each function individually. It also allows you to reuse code over and over, which makes your job easier. And often what programmers do is write standard algorithms for processes that are very common. So for example, a login process, if you write a function to do that, and then you can reuse that function across different programs, or data validation, so making sure that input is within a certain range, making sure it's a number when you're expecting a number, or something like converting date formats, so converting from the English date format to the American date format, between using a number for month or using the written name for a month. You could write functions for all those sort of standard operations and then reuse them across your programs. Even this function here that I've used, the toString, is the same thing. It's a function that has been written. We don't have access to see it, but it means that we can reuse that bit of code over and over again without having to always rewrite the function.